Hey guys, I'm Coach Kimmy, and it's so good to be here with you guys. I can't wait to share this experience with you. And I just want you to know right off the bat, you're not alone. You know, sometimes it feels like we're alone and we have nobody, and it feels dark inside or it feels empty inside. But the truth is, those are just emotions and feelings. I want you to know that emotions and feelings are something that you can learn to control. There's something that you could actually learn to banish into the sea of healing. Does that sound good? Would you like to get rid of those emotions and feelings that lie to us every day, right? They tell us things that are not true, like we don't matter or we're not enough. It's awful when we listen to those things, but sometimes we've been imprinted with those. So I want to take you on a journey about when we're born, where do those imprints come from? Where do we get emotions from in the first place, right? So I did neuroscience for the last 5 years, and I really studied under Bruce Lipton. He's an incredible neuroscientist, and he really teaches in a way that you can understand and resonate with, right? So I remember listening and doing his work and thinking, oh my God, I understand this, right? And there's something to say that when you have understanding, I want to show you something. All right, this is a chart for positive and negative. When you understand something, you get knowledge. When you don't understand something, you live in ignorance. Ignorance is just not knowing what you don't know. So it's so important. This chart I go back to all the time because anytime I'm having an emotion or a feeling, I go back to my chart of negative and positive and find out where am I on the chart. Am I in ignorance? Am I doubting? Am I filled with worry? Am I fearing? Am I filled with anxiety? Do I feel depressed? Or am I feeling super sad? Or am I feeling angry? Right? Or now, this is the most important part about this chart, that when we're in this state of negativity, we always have a bipolar opposite, which is called the law of polarity, because everything has an opposite. We can shift to the opposite side of those emotions and feelings. And we could go to a different emotion and feeling, which is intentional, right? So if you're living in ignorance and you don't know something, you could get knowledge and you can shift and change it. Now, what does knowledge do? When you get knowledge, you get understanding, you get well-being, you get certainty, right? It feels so good. You get assurance, and then you get blissful, and you get true joy and true happiness. So the neuroscience really gave me knowledge, right? So I was able to come from the state of depression and negativity. And pessimistic is in the land of negativity. But after I learned all the neuroscience of my mind and my emotions and how it runs, how the brain works, I was able to get knowledge, and I was able to change and transform all my programming to something that was better. And let me tell you, now I live in bliss, I live in understanding, I live in well-being, and that's the goal, right? We want to live in joy, we want to live in happiness. We want to get rid of old paradigms and old programs and old belief systems into the sea of healing. I used to say into the sea of forgetfulness, but guess what? Just because you forget something doesn't mean it's not still there. The sea of healing means that you deal, feel, and heal. That means you actually are intentional about dealing with that emotion so that you can actually live in that state of blissfulness and that state of healing, which will give you peace and joy and all kinds of great emotional states that we want to be in, right? That's the goal, to have a happy, joyful life, to be able to laugh. I used to be so serious, I couldn't laugh because I was in so much emotional pain. I didn't know how to. So I'm super excited to be on this journey with you. So we're going to get back to where does our emotions come from? So when we're an infant in utero in our mother's womb, right, we have two parts of the brain that start to be developed. The front part of the brain for a little baby starts to be developed. And basically, as that baby is growing for those 9 months in utero, it gets the emotional state of the mother, right? Like it gets the genetics, but it also gets the emotional state. If the mother's having a bad day or stressed or angry and mad, what do you think that baby is feeling? That baby's feeling every emotional state that mother lives in. It's so scary and crazy. So then you think, what was my mother living in, right? My mother was a mess. She was 15 years old with my brother, and I was number 2, mistake. So I was a double negative, right? So what kind of distress was she under then? So I came out of the womb already in a negative vibration and negative state, right? And these are vibrations. This is really good too that I want to show you, and I'll actually put it up here. These are vibrations from Hertz energy charts. So they put EKGs on people's brains, and they basically would put their emotional states of where they lived in and where they were at, and it gave you frequency and vibration of where it was. So shame and guilt is like at a 20 and 30 and 40. And listen, anger is at 150. Acceptance, I'm pretty sure, is like at 300, 350. But these are great. I also have made some that I looked at other ones as well, and I kind of created one that actually helped me to really learn more emotional states to be able to get out of them. my favorite is to live in love, right? So frequency happens when you're in utero in a mother's womb, right? So if her frequency or her vibration or her states of mind, which are emotions, are negative, it's going to affect the baby, just so you know. And so you could have been affected because your mom lived in an emotional state of abuse or pain or hurt. And this is something I want you to hold on to and I want you to write down. Hurt people. And damage people. Something really important to remember and hold on to. So when you're feeling a lot of pain because somebody hurt and harmed you, you have to think, were they hurt and harmed? And most of the time, guys, I would say 99% of the time, hurt people, and damage people. So your mom and dad were probably hurt and harmed if they hurt and harmed you. And that's the way it works, right? So in utero, when that mother, if they're hurt and harmed, if they're in a bad relationship and they're arguing and cursing back and forth with their boyfriend or their spouse or whatever's going on, that baby feels the distress. They said that the blood vessels constrict and kind of stop the blood flow to the baby at times. How scary is that, right? When you're under high stress, we have to be careful. Stress is a killer. Stress creates cancer. Stress creates all kinds of diseases, right? Because we're living in this fight or flight state of mind where you're either angry and mad and you disconnect from somebody or you fight with them. So we have to remember a lot of this came from utero. So this way you know where it came from. The only hard thing I need to tell you is, the front part of the brain is developed when the baby's from 1 to 6, and that's when we absorb everything, right? We're just a sponge absorbing. So if your mom or dad are fighting all the time, or if there's chaos and confusion and dysfunction going on all the time, if there's toxic all around you all the time, what do you think you're going to be? You're going to be toxic. You're going to be dysfunctional. The monkey see, monkey do. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Just remember that. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You usually become like your parents, even if you don't want to. But the imprint is so strong in there because the front of the brain is imprinted with the 5 senses: what they seen, what they smelled, what they tasted, what they heard, and what they touched, right? If they were loved and they were hugged, they would feel that. If they weren't, they would feel that, right? If you're not hugged and loved or nurtured, you'll feel neglected, you'll feel alone, you'll feel probably introverted as well. It's almost as if you don't matter. And that's just an awful emotion to have to feel. It doesn't mean it's true. It just means that's the imprint of your mind up to 6 years old that you have been imprinted with. And this is the thing, guys, even though it was back then, right? When you see a 6-year-old, they're not able to fully function on their own yet. Think of a 6-year-old, right? They're just imprinting. They're just watching things. Even they're influenced by what they watch on TV, the friends that they're around. Like everything is influencing them at that age from utero to 6 years old. Because that's what the brain does. It just takes it all in. It's by the 5 senses. Everything gets imprinted and wired. Like a laptop. Think of a laptop that you had that is brand new. It's brand new. You have to download things into that laptop for it to run and function properly. But if you're downloading bad things into that computer, it will be bad. You understand? The computer's only going to give back whatever programs you put in there. So just remember that. Hold on to that. Then from 7 to 13, the back part of the brain starts to be developed, which is other parts of thinking, processing, learning, education, and you're being taught what to think, not how to think yet. So that's from 1 to 13. Now, 13 years old, now this is the part you get to think for yourself. Right now is your thinking center is being developed. So now the brain is developed. And now this subconscious mind is the programs from utero to 13 years old that are all imprinted already. And they're strong at this point. 13 years of imprinting are strong. They are in there. They are running like a hamster on a wheel, just repeating the same programs. But what happens is the conscious mind wants to break away to get its own identity. It's like, I don't want to live like my parents. I don't want to be like my parents. But the only thing is this runs us 95%, the neuroscientists say. These imprints are 95% run us, but we try to break away and try to get our own identity. That's when it's called the terrible teens, because you're like, I don't want to be like them. Now, this is the key you need to remember. They don't run together at the same time. They run tandemly together. If this conscious mind, which is your thinking mind, is thinking new programs, wanting to bust away to learn your own identity, right? This one can't be working. If your subconscious mind, this is the subconscious, this is the conscious. This is the one that we get to use our thinking mind with, meaning new thoughts and our new identity, get rid of old belief systems, because this one is just a tape recorder. It's just a record that plays over and over and over again. Nothing is in it. It can't create anything new. It has to just play whatever's put on it already, like a laptop, right? You can play a program if the program was imprinted. You can't play the program if it wasn't imprinted. That's why this one, and they run tandemly together. When this one's on, this one's off. When this one's on, this one's off. But you have to be intentional about getting into this mind. This one just automatically runs. But the minute you start doing breathing, meditation, you start slowing down the mind to relax, to relax, to relax. Which a lot of times we've learned fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, or hurt or pain, anxiety, 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 right? Like, I mean, it's so strong, anxiety sometimes. So it's so comfortable when you've learned this program so long that when you start to change and you start to slow down the mind and you want to reflect and you want to start being thankful for things, like this one is so strong. It's like wanting to run. And you're like, no, I'm going to do my breathing. I'm going to do my affirmations. I'm going to change. I want to know who I am. But when you're 13, you don't even know that you can do that. Do you understand? When you're 13, this one's trying to kick on, but this one's so much more powerful. A lot of times they keep fighting against one another. But this is the thing. You don't want to fight against this one. You just want to record new programs. I'm enough. I've always been enough. I'll always be enough. I'm a winner. I've always been a winner. I'll always be a winner, right? We want to keep recording new things so we can put new records, new tape recorders in there, create a new program for the computer, get rid of the obsolete one that doesn't mean anything. They're bad programs, bad belief systems. They're lies. They're not true. If your parents weren't healthy and well-being, then you're not going to have healthy and well-being. You need to banish those programs into the sea of healing, because hurt people and damage people. Did they do it on purpose? No. Did they do it because they didn't know what they were doing? Yes. They didn't know they had a program running them 95%, telling them they're not enough, right? They're not enough. So guess what? They can't give what they don't have. So if you didn't feel loved, valued, and treasured, it's because they didn't have it to give to you. Is it on purpose? No, it's because they never got it. Now it's your turn to get it, right? So remember, the subconscious mind is the things that have been imprinted, even if you're 50 years old. These programs have been running a long time. However, you could get into this conscious mind and start to think new thoughts. You can start creating your life. You could create your own identity. You can create who you want to be, right? It's funny because you could know that God loves you. But if you don't love you, it doesn't matter. If you don't see value in yourself, you can't add value to yourself. So we have to get back to where those programs came from, and we have to banish them into the sea of healing, and we have to create new programs. We have to start saying better things to ourselves. We have to start being positive. We have to get rid of the negative Nelly that only knows addiction to society, which is talk about people, gossip, be fresh, fight for your right. Not that you don't fight for your right by boundaries, but they're healthy boundaries, not fighting for your right, spitting back because somebody spit on you, right? You want to do it with well-being. So how do we start doing that? We make new records. I am enough. I've always been enough. I'll always be enough. They say fake it until you make it. This conscious mind, this subconscious mind believes whatever it's put in there. So if you keep saying something long enough, it's going to be imprinted in there. Now, this is the deal. How do you do that quicker? Well, at nighttime, you could put it on before you go to bed. When you're in this dreamy state, they say it goes into there like rocket fuel. In a rocket, it goes in so much faster. So that's what you really want to do. You want to wire things in at nighttime of an auto subconscious thing of telling you, you're enough, you've always been enough, you'll always be enough. You could, ask God, like, I am wonderfully and fearfully made. You can share the beautiful things in God's word. You can create beautiful things yourself. You could do it any way you want, but it needs to be new imprints and their affirmations, right? So I have a great one here that I love to say. And what you could do, you could take a tape recorder. You could take a tape recorder or a video from your phone, and you could record yourself saying an affirmation, right? You actually write one down that you want to say to yourself because you want to imprint new programs that are going to give you success, new programs that are going to help you bust out of that limiting belief system, new programs that are going to help you to find your identity. And you're not going to actually find your identity, my friends. You're going to create your identity, right? Because maybe you don't have one because no one ever gave you one, right? God always gave us one, but now we have to believe it, right? He says, you are marvelously and wonderfully made. I knit you together before the beginning of time. The only problem is we think our mother and father made us in a sense, which they did physically in their carnal mind, but not in a spiritual mind. God is our leader in our spiritual mind. And it's always good to have a best friend, right? I mean, who wouldn't want somebody that's the creator of the universe to be your best friend? That's 24/7 access, every second, every moment, every day of your life. I mean, it's so good to have God on your side. If God is for you, who could be against you? It shifts and it changes. But the minute I found out, I was about 21 years old, and I found out that God would actually love me and be on my side, I was like, I'm all in. Great, because that's what I need. Right? We need support. We need to not feel alone. We need somebody to be able to call 24/7. God, I need you. I need help right now. I'm struggling with this emotion, or I'm struggling with this person, or I'm struggling. God is easy. He's there 24/7. And this is his phone number. Prayer. Prayer is God's phone number. And it's cool. It's like when we call him, it's prayer. And then when he calls us, he speaks to our intuition. And we need to start trusting ourselves enough to listen to it. So this is a great affirmation. I want you to think, thank you, God, for your will be done. Today is a perfect day. It's a day of fantastic completion. Miracle after miracle and wonder after wonder shows up endlessly every day in my favor. And it blesses me and all those around me. All your miracles and wonder come pouring in avalanches of abundance to me every day in every way, and they never cease. My mind and awareness expand every day, miraculously, in ways that I've never expected, that just bless me beyond what I could have ever thought of. Right? Every day of increase of my greater good and the greater good of all those around me and all mankind. I connect, I impact, and I influence all those around me and all those people's lives that I touch on all of my social media programs. Thank you, God, for making me enough. I am enough. So I just want you guys to rewrite that down, write your own, whatever you want, but start imprinting new programs. Remember, the subconscious mind wants to have control over us, but our conscious mind can have control more. And when we get into this mind, we have to start to think, we have to start breathing, we have to start to slow down this one so that we can actually get into this one. And it's kind of like this. If I told you right now, I want you to come to my house, your autopilot mind would be a little fearful and afraid in the sense of just this one would be like, oh, I don't know how to get to your house. I don't even know where you live. That could be too far. And, could start thinking all these thoughts. However, this is the one that runs us 95%. But when I'm asking you something new, you're going to be in this one. Now, this one always can have fear unless you start programming it in there to not, right? So what you want to do is say, how do I get to her house? You're going to be in your attention seeking mind because you're gonna have to learn new information by thinking, what road am I on? What road do I have to take? Which way do I go? And you're gonna be in your conscious mind, right? But if you put your GPS on and it's telling you what to do, your subconscious mind will kick in to think, what am I gonna eat for dinner later? Oh, I think I'm hungry. Oh, I think I want a coffee. Or who do I have to call later? Okay, that is your subconscious mind. It's able to just go off on a tangent when the conscious mind is not paying attention anymore because the GPS is on. But if you had to be in your conscious mind, it would be the one paying attention, going, oh, it'd be aware, it'd be like looking at a map, or, you put the map down for a second, you're like, okay, I have to look for this road. Now you're in your conscious mind, you're thinking, you got the sucker revved up. All right, now I got to make a right on this road. Oh, it says 3 miles before I make the next turn. And then you're going 3 miles, but meanwhile, in that 3 mile, it could shut off because you have 3 miles and it might go into this one to think of different things that are already imprinted in there, like hunger, right? Your stomach starts calling you. Now, but then you got to pay attention again and you got to say, oh, it's 3 miles. I gotta make a left at this road, right? So you're in your conscious mind. So they're not fighting until you become aware that you can actually fight to get into your conscious mind. You do have to fight to get into your conscious mind, your thinking mind, because this one's so powerful. It's always running us. We have to shut it off and we have to get into our thinking mind. So you could always stick a pencil inside that little hamster that just keeps running around on a hamster going nowhere. It goes nowhere in our subconscious mind. And the goal is, I'm just going to finish with this. The goal is to get out of your subconscious mind and to get into your conscious mind and to wire all new programs into that subconscious mind that will be healthy and well. And this is what the neuroscientist said. He said, if a child is raised with a very well balanced life from parents that love one another, they knew how to show love, they knew how to show feelings, they knew how to experience feelings, they knew how to deal, feel, and heal. It's amazing that he said they'll be successful the whole entire life because they're not fighting old belief systems that are not serving them, right? Most of us, if we've come through trauma or drama or any kind of bad toxic childhoods, we have a lot of, I want to say, banishing wrong programming. We have to deprogram it, and it's actually not deprogram. You actually have to banish it into the sea of healing. You need to heal from it, and the only way to heal is by putting new programs in. We got to get the good programs. I'm enough. I've always been enough. I'll always be enough. I'm a winner. I've always been a winner. I'll always be a winner. I'm so happy and grateful to you, God. Thank you so much that I'm abundantly rich, healthy, happy, whole, fit, and complete, and I lack nothing. Right? We really don't have to lack anything. God says, you're complete in me, but we just have to learn to believe it. So this is Coach Kimmy. I hope that you're enjoying these messages that will help you be like a rocket over your emotional states to get you out of anxiety, out of depression, out of sadness, out of worry and fear and doubts, to get you into a really good state of healthy well-being, into certainty, into joy, into blissfulness, to enjoy life. I'm so looking forward to walking with you every step of the way on this journey. And I just want you to know you can do this and you got it. And I want you to think of Henry Ford. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So let's think that you can and you will. Have a wonderful day.